Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing a sit-down video going over our bills from Florida to New York, like how they changed when we moved. So if that's something that you're interested in the cost of living and how it changed from us moving from New York to Florida, stick around and that's what we're going to be doing in today's video. Okay guys, so I'm just going to get right into it. What I'm going to do is basically discuss all of our bills in New York and Florida and how they changed when we moved. Now, a couple of things to note. These are just our expenses for us personally, so it could be different for you depending on what you decide to do. You know, if you move here or if you did move here or whatever, everybody's going to be a little bit different, but it just basically just going to give you guys a little bit of information on how things were different for us. First of all, we moved from New York in December 3rd of last year, 2020. We moved here to Florida. So when we moved from New York, though, we are not moving from New York City. These are our bills from Western New York. So we were situated right between Rochester and Buffalo. So we were about an hour or so from each of those. So that's what these bills are going to reflect. So if you're coming from like New York City or maybe way far upstate New York, it might be a little bit different for you. So basically I'm just going to get into it, and then I have a couple of things that we didn't really expect. And then, we'll go from there. So first up, we have our electric bill. Now, bear in mind, it is only March here, so we have not had a summer yet. So electric, I'm going to plan on it going a little bit higher in the summer because of air conditioning. But in New York, we had electric for heat and gas for heat. So these are going to reflect, these do have winters considered in them. So it's probably going to be around, I can kind of see the variance. But for New York, our electric bill in New York ran us around $135 a month. Here, our electric bill currently is running us about $135 a month. So there's been no difference in electric for us whatsoever. And I have already been running the AC because, AC life, I need it. But today is actually, I think it's like 67 outside right now. So yeah. I'm inside and it's kind of cool. That's why I got the sweater on and stuff. I just like to be cozy in the house. If I were going to go outside, I definitely wouldn't be rocking this anymore once I got out in the sunshine. But our electric bill so far hasn't changed, so I think it'll be fine. Gas, our bill in New York was $75. Here is $0 because we don't have any gas here. Our water in New York was $0 because we didn't have a water bill in New York, but here we do pay water and it's about $20 a month. That does include, I have a huge like jacuzzi tub, jet tub, whatever, and I do use that frequently. We have 3 bathrooms and laundry, dishwasher, all of those things. We do not do irrigation. I think that's the word. We don't do that, like we don't water our grass or anything like that, and we don't have a pool. I don't know if pool changes water or not, but so water, our current bill is about $20 a month. Garbage in New York, it was about like $250 a year. It works out to about $20 a month, but we had to physically take it to the dump. Here we have a service and it's $20 a month. We pay it every 3 months. It's $60 and it's $20. So that is about the same, but all we have to do is take it to the end of the road and then they come and pick it up. In New York, pest control, $0. We had nothing for that. Here, it runs about $60 a month. Now again, this is for us. So that's probably a little high on the higher end from what I understand, but that's what I chose. That's the thing that I chose for our house. What it is that like you can do your own pest control. My husband can go out, you can buy stuff at Lowe's and Home Depot. I mean, he can go out and do it. But when he's not working and it's like weekends and stuff, I mean, we live in Florida, so I want to be doing the fun stuff. I want to be at the ocean. I want to be at, Disney or, Legoland, wherever, the theme parks and stuff. There's a million other things I'd rather be doing than having him do pest control. So I just budget that in. What that includes for us personally is that if there is anything ever at all then I can call them and they will come and take care of it. I just pay $60 a month, and like that's like unlimited services. They treat once every, I want to say every like 3 or 4 months they come and treat. And then if there's anything in between that I see at all, yard, house, inside, outside, anything at all, I call and they're here. I don't pay any service charges. I don't pay anything extra for that. So, and I also use a natural pest control, but I don't think the natural costs more. But either way, it's just, you're allowed to do, it's basically $60 a month. So, in New York, I had zero for that, clearly, because, you don't really have that you don't need to deal with that in New York as much. House, I'm going to come back to. Car insurance, that one went up. It was about $120 in New York for 2 of us, and here it's about $190. Now, that's actually a little bit lower. I finally had to switch from Geico. I did have Geico we've had them forever. And I'll kind of bridge that gap in a minute here. Homeowners was $1,300 in New York for a year, and now it's $1,900. Homeowners was a little bit tricky to find as well, because you have to make sure you get a good one, because it's Florida and we have, hurricanes and sinkholes and whatnot. So the $1,900 that I'm doing it's a good sized, I did something with the deductible. I can't even really explain it. It's like a hurricane thing where I put like a bunch of things together. And then I also got sinkhole coverage. That's probably, I don't know, that's going to be your choice. I think like of that 1,900, like 300 or 400 of it is sinkhole that I decided to do just above and beyond. You don't have to do that. So you might be able to get that cost down a little bit, but either way, it's still higher than what we were doing in New York, because we're in a different, area now. So we do have that. Now, one thing that did happen to us was that homeowners and car insurance, apparently my homeowner's policy was contingent on me having car insurance through the same company, and I didn't realize that. I thought it was just my homeowners, and then I could still keep Geico. Well, Geico ended up giving me a quote of $200, which I was like, fine, whatever. It did go up because it was $120 in New York, and now it's $200 in Florida. So that did go up, but I didn't realize, and when I didn't get homeowners and car insurance clumped, I ended up getting another bill from my homeowners where they raised it $600, literally. So it was the $1,900 plus $600. So I had to pay all of that. My escrow sent out a new check and everything, and I didn't realize that. So I had to call them, and then I had to cancel Geico and go with State Farm to get the car insurance down. So the car insurance is now $190 a month, still more than New York. New York was $120. Here is $190. But homeowners is down to $1,900. They did take off that extra $600 I got that reimbursed. But either way, so be careful with that. If they give you quotes, make sure that you are listening, like if it's combined, because it was like kind of like no one really said it to me on the phone, but it was in the fine print afterwards, because I went rage mode and was like, no, absolutely not, blah, blah, blah. I never agreed to this. But then when I read the fine print of the old email that was sent to me, it was in there. But we had such a fiasco with buying our house and like closing on our house and issues with them that I didn't I didn't read all the fine print of that. So that was my own fault. But either way, it was very frustrating that there was that much of a fee for not having joint car and homeowners. But either way, nonetheless, car insurance $120 in New York, Florida was $190. It will go up here. And I've heard that from everybody. Most likely your car insurance will go up. Homeowners went up again, but again, there's a lot more things here, so that's to be expected. Internet was $75 in New York, and it's $75 here. That hasn't changed yet. I think that we're in like a trial, like how they give you the discount for the first however many months or whatever. So I think our internet might go up to like 80 or 85. We have the same speed. We're supposed to get 200, but we don't. We get like 70, 60, somewhere in there. It's enough for us. It works. But be careful about that when you are looking to buy a house. Verify the internet. because there's a lot of places that literally don't have any, or a lot of places that I called for here. I was almost ready to walk away from the whole deal because they were saying that our speed was 3. And they tried telling me, oh, your kids can game and you can do this. And I'm like, no, we can't. Like, I know that I'm not even running Netflix on 3, so it's not going to happen. I mean, you can run Netflix, but you know what I mean? It's like not going to work. But they're going to try to sell you a song and dance that it will, and it won't. So watch the speeds where you're building or buying. If you do want to move here, just watch that, because a lot of the neighborhoods are brand new and being just constructed, and there's not, good service there yet. So just be aware of that. But our internet technically is currently the same as it was in New York. Music. So we pay for Amazon Music each month. I do the family plan so that we get however many devices and we all can have, our music throughout the house, on the phones, whatever. It was $15 in New York. It was $14.99 a month is what it is there. It's still $14.99 a month in Florida. However, here I get charged a tax that I did not get charged in New York. So technically now I pay $17 a month for music, whereas in New York it was $15 per month. However, what I have noticed is ordering through Amazon, a lot of things in New York I would always get taxed on every order, and here there's like 90% of the time I don't get taxes on my orders for whatever reason. I haven't quite figured out what the reasoning is or what the items are, because it's random. Sometimes I get charged a tax, or if I try to ship something to the kids in New York, if they're up there, then I get, there's taxes. But if I ship it to our house here in Florida, there's no taxes. So I don't know if it's like closer to us or it's in the distribution center. I don't know what it is. But it works out, because at first when I saw that charge, I called Amazon. I'm like, what is going on? Why did this? Because I thought they raised it, because I think it happened to be like in January. So I thought they raised it for the year. And I was like, seriously, these services just keep going up and up and up each year. And it's frustrating. But it wasn't. It was something with the taxes. So now I have a tax monthly for Amazon Music. But that did not happen with Hulu, Netflix, or any other, of those things. It didn't happen with those, just Amazon Music for whatever reason. So that technically went up by like $2, but I didn't, it doesn't bother me because of all of the Amazon purchases that I make. I don't get taxed on for whatever reason. A lot of them I don't. Price of gas right now in New York where we lived, it's $2.79. Now this is just rough. I don't know every single gas station, but it's roughly around $2.79 for gas, a gallon of gas. Here I pay $2.50. So when we first moved, that was a lot less, but after January, things happen. So the price of gas is going up everywhere, but here it's still $2.50, and in New York it's $2.79. So our phones did not change. We have the same phones and phone provider, so our phones did not change. We do not do landline. We only have cell phones. They're the exact same. Groceries are basically the exact same. I haven't noticed a difference whatsoever. The equivalent, like Wegmans would be a store up there that we would use. Here would be Publix. It's kind of like you don't grocery shop. I mean, maybe some people grocery shop at Publix. I personally don't, because it's expensive. It's like Wegmans. So from people up in New York, Wegmans, the equivalent to down here is Publix. So, but groceries in general are about the same. I think honestly Wegmans might have been a little bit less for certain items, but for the most part, I think everything if you look at an Aldi, a Walmart, a Target, any of those things like Publix, any Wegmans, any of those compared, they're all like relatively the same. I haven't noticed any difference with food. I think grocery stores near like Orlando and like cities and stuff, Orlando, like big tourist areas are probably a little bit more. But for what I've seen in our day-to-day groceries, they're like relatively the same. There's no difference. Now the house, I'll go to that. So our house payment in Florida is $300 more than our house payment in New York. However, our mortgage is literally double. So we got, for $300 more than we were paying in New York, we got a way different style house, like a way, like literally double the cost house, for not double the mortgage payment. So because of the taxes there are no state taxes in Florida. So a lot of it is taxes and stuff in New York make our payment, your payment like so much higher. So like, it's just a lot. You can get a lot more house for less money here. So house market, as far as that goes, it's going to be different too with the market. I'm not, I don't know anything about all that, but you can just get a way newer house, like our house in New York. So our house in New York was built in the 60s, I want to say. This house we have here was built in 2013. So we have a 7-year-old house, and it's like virtually all brand new. I mean, it's not a new build, but it's 7 years old. So there was a lot more, or a lot older there. But here, the quantity of the mortgage is a lot higher. However, your mortgage payment doesn't really change because there's like no taxes, whatever it is. And obviously the interest rates are going to fluctuate too. So again, I don't know anything about that. All I know is our house payment didn't really change, but our house, the aesthetics and the shape and the, like everything with the house is way nicer here, way higher end. Everything's a lot nicer than it was for just a smidge more per month. So that's the difference there. And then also on the houses, there's exemptions you can get for being a resident that lives here. There's also tax credits and exemptions. I don't know a lot about them. There's tons of videos on YouTube about that as well. But there's like a homestead exemption, there's a veteran exemption. But basically, Florida takes care of its residents. So if you have a house here, you can get discounts on your taxes as well. So honestly, the mortgage payment, when I said it went up by $300, that's actually without those even factored in, because our mortgage company wouldn't factor them all in until we were actually here. So we've filed for those, but they're not in effect yet. So I don't even know what the new payment's going to be. So that $300 is not even, it's going to be less than that. So I just don't know how much less it's going to be because I, don't have the information yet. So if you are a full-time resident here, like not a vacation home, I can't remember quite what the threshold was. Maybe it's primary residence or something like that. You do get another exemption for that, and then your mortgage payment will actually go down and be less. But I don't know what it's going to be. So that's why I'm just saying New York to Florida right here, right now, was a $300 difference. But it's actually less than that because, like I said, the exemption. So once we figure out all of that, that'll be a little bit lower as well. So that'll be helpful. As far as here, you've got to factor in kids' activities. I pay for the boys to go to classes, extracurricular things. There's a lot more of that here than there was in Western New York for us available. So that's cool. Annual passes for any of the theme parks and stuff, you would factor that in. And grocery delivery services, you could factor that in if you wanted to do those, because all of these things were not available to us there. We didn't have any kind of theme parks. We had one, it was called Darien Lake. It's like a Six Flags. It was pretty small in comparison to the stuff in Orlando and the things you can do here. Grocery delivery services, we just lived in an area where, that wasn't even an option. So it didn't matter. So if your lifestyle is going from something where you are far away from everything and then you're moving to civilization, for example, those are things that would change as well, for you. Now, no state tax. I did tell you guys that there is no state tax. So your paycheck will probably go up a little bit because there's nobody taking out, New York is huge on taxing. So your paycheck will probably go up a little bit if your state that you would be moving from is very high, in taxing. And no state tax, like when you're out shopping and stuff, there's no state tax. And no car inspections. So in New York, we had to pay for a car inspection each what is it, like once a year, I guess, whatever. And you don't have to do that here. There is no inspection. You drive your car, you decide if your car is worth being on the road or whatever, and you drive your car. You don't have to have somebody tell you you're allowed to drive your car. So we don't have that here. Now, when you move down, one thing that I was prepared for just because I researched, but I'll just put it out there, is plan on having $400 per person for license and registration. That is huge. So you get, if you register, when you come down and you register your car and you get your license, it's $400 a person. So basically just plan on that. It'll be a little bit under, most likely, unless you get like fancy plates and stuff like that, but most likely it'll be a little bit less, but plan on 400. Also, if you use cash, take cash with you. I didn't have cash and I had to pay extra because I didn't have cash. If you have cash, you get a discount. It's not like a ton, but it's, a discount's discount. Registration, the 400, that's not like every year. It's nothing like that. That's like a one-time thing. And then if we ever had a Florida license or registration, then it would not have been that much. So that is different. It's not like in New York, we had to do it, I think, every 2 years, I want to say. And it was like $100 and some every 2. It's not like that here. I don't remember exactly what it is, so I can't tell you because I don't want to speak on anything I don't know of. But I know it was 400 to start, and then when we renew, it's not going to be that much. So you don't have to worry about that. So I would have paid cash had I known that. And then if you use, like I said, if you use the card, it does add a little bit. Also on the use cash, we don't ever have cash. And that was something different because there's a ton of markets here. There's flea markets, there's farmers markets, there's all kinds of markets. You want to always have cash. They will, like a lot of times, you won't pay tax and you won't pay extra. If you do your card and you swipe it, they're using, whatever, I can't even think of what it is right now, but whatever you put on your phone, and you swipe it through, they use that a lot of times. So you do have to pay either tax or if there's a fee with that. But if you have cash, then they don't even tax you. You just give them cash and they give you the item. So have cash on hand and plan on that $400 for registration and license. The other thing is tolls. So you're going to want to get a Sun Pass. We did get a Sun Pass, but tolls we had 9 trips. So this is over the course of January and February and the beginning of March. So this is over the course of 3 months. We had, we didn't do anything in December when we first moved here because it was, Christmas was right around the corner. And we were trying to get moved in, get situated. So we didn't do any of the excursions out to any theme parks or Disney World or, Universal. We didn't really do anything when we first moved here. So for the last, January and February and then a week in March, we've done 9 trips total out to where we would need to pay tolls. For those 9 trips, our tolls cost us $60.15. Get a Sun Pass. We have one now, so I ordered it. It's installed. We're ready to go now. So that's good to know, but I didn't really know how important that was going to be when we first moved here, but it is very important. Because they don't have people working the tolls right now. So you get the toll and then you get the administration fee for them mailing you the toll, and you get all this, there's just surcharges and all that stuff. So you just don't deal with that. Get a Sun Pass. And if you plan on coming to visit, just make sure you have toll money because you'll need it for that. So that is basically all of those. All in all, the bills are, it's just, there's a trade-off. I think it's a little bit, some of the stuff went up, some of it went down, some of it we don't need anymore, some of it we need now that we didn't need before. So I think you just have to weigh it out. But all in all, ours are relatively close. A couple things went up, like I said, but you just have to weigh it out. I was really, nervous trying to calculate the bills because when you first do a move like this, with kids and everything, it's pretty crazy, and you want to make sure that you can, figure out everything each month. But I mean, it all pretty much worked out. So basically, that's everything for how things changed financially. I mean, I think for us too, another thing that's huge is the access to restaurants and the access to just the access in general. Because where we lived in New York, we were like an hour or an hour and a half, hour and 15 from most places like that we would want to go like out for dinner or something. There really wasn't anything, you know, close by that we could go to that we really wanted to go to. So, you know, that you have to factor in. I mean, you're going to want fun money, you know, stuff for that. I mean, everybody's gonna want like the fun money and stuff. I think we have way more access here, so it's way easier to spend here. It's way more, you know, touristy and like I said, civilization. You know, it's just a lot different. So it's a lot easier to spend here, but you don't have to. It's just that's gonna be like a personal choice for you. You know, but in general, you know, the bills really aren't that much. I mean, I think the thing that gets me is a lot of people say the cost of living is a lot less here. I don't know that I would say it's a lot less, to just being completely honest. But I feel like it's a lot, I mean, it's similar to what we were doing. It's probably a lot less if you're coming from New York City or California, something like that. Then yeah, I would say it's probably a lot less. If we went from Western New York to maybe like Miami or something like that, you know, or Key West, you know, down in there, or even Sarasota, you know, the ocean cities, I think that it would be a lot, the cost of living would be, like if you went from New York City to any of those, it still might be less. But if we went from, you know, Western New York to any of those towns, it would be a lot higher than this. But if you go to, you know, just in general, New York, you know, Western New York to, you know, Central Florida area, that it's like pretty close to apples, honestly. I think they just kind of, like I said, the bills just like fluctuate a little bit, but it's not a drastic, oh, we're saving a ton of money because we moved, or, oh, we're spending a ton of money because we moved. If anything, we would be spending more money than saving because of, like I said, being, you know, stuck for so many years and, you know, repressed for so long of not being able to do those things. And now, you know, I literally could call somebody and they could bring me food like right now, or I could go and drive, you know, okay, Hobby Lobby is 10 minutes from my house. Seriously. Marshalls and Home Goods and TJ Maxx, like those stores, 10 minutes from my house. So, you know, you can understand how it would be easier to spend money here, because before I would have to commit and drive an hour one way to get to any of those stores. So, you know, it's a lot different in that regard, but it's not, you know, it's really not, the cost of living is relatively similar for us personally. Everybody's going to do their own thing. Everybody's going to want to have their own thing. You might not want theme park tickets. You might want, you know, something else instead or whatever. So everybody's going to be a little bit different, but the basic, like these are just basic living expenses. They're relatively the same for us from going from there to here. Thanks for watching. Hopefully that kind of helped you weigh out, you know, any decisions based on, you know, that you've been trying to make. I get messages literally all the time asking about, you know, moving here and stuff. And it feels like people really, really want to make a change, but it's just kind of, it's very difficult. It's very scary. And I get that completely. But, you know, you just got to kind of do it. And it was 1,000 trillion billion infinity% worth moving here. And that's about it for how our bills changed from from New York to Florida. So, oh, thank God it's not in the other direction. No way, we're done. No way, never going back. But yeah, so those are the bills from New York compared to Florida and how the cost of living changed for us personally when we moved here. So, you know, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope that gave you a little bit of insight into how things, you know, might look for you if you decided to take that plunge to move here. I think that's everything. So thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one when hopefully we're doing something more fun than sitting here talking about bills, because nobody wants to do that. I'll catch you guys in the next one.